On this episode of Heart and Head Work, we sit down with Brit and Sarah, the powerhouse duo behind Acrely Farms, to talk all things money, partnership, and choosing the hard path on purpose. Acrely Farms is a regenerative farm focused on humane, sustainable practices and botanical skincare. They have self-funded their hemp and CBD product business to $2 million in their lifetime of sales over the last 5 years. We chat about navigating the dynamics of self-funding, borrowing money from a spouse, and this conversation gets real about what it takes to build a mission-driven brand. We explore their evolving relationship with money, how they handle conflict as partners, and why betting on themselves was and is the only way forward. This one's vulnerable, insightful, and refreshingly honest. Welcome to Heart and Head Work, the podcast for women who want to lead with strategy and soul.
I'm Tessa, the people connector who embraces vulnerability and dreams big.
And I'm Rocky, the strategist who thrives on logic and turns vision into action.
We combined our superpowers and founded Maven, a community that empowers women.
Including Maven District, the largest collective of women-owned small businesses in the world.
This podcast is for women like you, building something real and wanting more than just business advice.
You'll hear honest conversations, practical tools, and personal stories about what it actually takes to build purpose-driven businesses.
If you're building with your whole self, heart and head, this is a space for you.
Join us on the journey. Hi, everybody. We're super stoked to be back. Tessa, who we're here with today.
Hi. Today we're here with Sarah Duke and Brit Beardmore from Acrely Farms. They're some of our favorites, as you know.
They are tenants
They
of
are
ours.
Maven District tenants,
Yes.
which we love. You know, we love to support women-owned, and we know we love even more when they're local. And since they are downstairs from us or around the corner, really, I want to hear a little bit about your story and what Acrely Farms is all about.
Yeah, because this is our 10th recording. Let's just be real for a second. This is our 10th time trying to intro to them. And so now we're passing the buck. Tessa tried it. I tried it. We both failed. So you guys get to give us some background on what is Acrely? Who are you? Please tell us like we don't know.
We got you. I'm going to let Sarah go first, though.
All right. We are the founders of Acrely, based off of an acre of land. It is a made-up word. Don't feel bad if you mispronounce it.
How do you get, what are the mispronunciations?
Acrely.
I actually like Acrely.
Yeah, that one's kind of cute.
Yeah,
That one is cute.
We might change it.
Okay. Well, I like Acrely.
Okay.
Also,
Thank you.
continue. Sorry to interrupt.
Awesome. My background's in agriculture. I was in large-scale production ag in the Midwest, surrounded by cornfields, worked for some of the largest ag conglomerates in the world, Syngenta, Monsanto. Don't judge me.
We're not judging you. You're here now.
I escaped, I say with most of my soul, moved to Utah, got into organic vegetable production originally with the International Rescue Committee. So did refugee resettlement here in Utah and across the states, and they had a farming program, both community garden and farming for farmers from all over the world. We did trials of vegetables of what we could grow here and sell to the rest of the refugee population. Was able to help grow that program 20x, went from 1 acre of land to 20. Still 20x.
20 Acrely.
Hey. And then started selling into local grocery stores, Whole Foods, Harmon, started a corporate CSA with Adobe. And in 2019, Utah legalized for the production of hemp. So I was able to get one of the first growing permits to get a license to grow hemp in the state. And originally we were just doing that to learn about the crop, try it in rotation with vegetables, and just sell it off like at the end of the year, end of 2019 as a bulk product. The market essentially like oversaturated, the pricing just tanked. And at that point, I was like, okay, what are we going to do next with this? Brit and I, longtime friends and sister-in-laws.
Ooh,
and,
fun fact.
She convinced me to marry her brother, and then I convinced her to go into business with me. So I don't know who worse.
We don't know which one's worse.
And we hear that you guys live 3 houses away from each other with a shared garden
Adorable.
currently. I don't find it adorable. I know Tessa does.
That's my dream.
For you guys, adorable. I know she's imagining what we would be doing, and I live an hour away.
Someday.
Space.
Electric fence.
Okay.
Free range chicken, and I have an electric fence.
Is it for her?
Yes.
Only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just kidding.
So yeah, into 2019, wrapping up, I'm like getting Brit to come to the farm, help with the manual labor. It's a lot of manual labor. And
So my background's in medical research. I worked at Huntsman Cancer Institute, managing some lab spaces for medical imaging and new drug development. And at the time, I was working with a company back east, and COVID hit, and I could no longer travel. So I'm out hand harvesting all these beautiful flowers with Sarah, And I'm like, well, what if we extract them? What if we make something? I do a deep dive. We originally started only growing hemp flowers, and we've recently expanded the botanical flower line. But I did a deep dive into the research on using hemp for sleep specifically. And of course, COVID, right? None of us were sleeping in high anxiety times. So we started out with a sleep tincture. Sarah knew everything about the plants. And then with my background, we decided to lab test and formulate a product to use for sleep. And that's really how it started. It was like a creative process too for us all to have an excuse to hang out even during COVID. And then we started selling pretty quickly after that. Originally, it was like, oh, how cool if we gifted our super conservative moms like these organic products that would help them sleep. And then we started selling products shortly after that.
Yeah, so 2020, had that first product, started making more just because we were locked down. Why not keep making more products?
We also thought when we launched the website, we would magically sell out, like when you see things on
absolutely.
TV.
Yes.
Yeah, like
We're
within
here
an
for
hour.
reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then we were sitting on all this inventory because we weren't that smart about how much we formulated and made at first. And so then it was like, oh, we're going to have to work to build this out and to do sales. So that's basically how it started. And we wanted to create a brand that was approachable. So especially in the hemp industry and CBD, there's so many weird companies doing weird things and you have no idea where it's being sourced. And so we were like, what if we create a beautiful brand that actually feels like a wellness brand that you can use for sleep? And then, have our ultra conservative moms use it for sleep.
Oh, you got to try this. Yeah, my daughter and my
look,
daughter-in-law.
it's beautiful.
Yeah. And
It's
they don't know why they
beautiful.
have this voice, but they do.
We're not from Minnesota.
I love how they ended up in Wisconsin instead of Texas.
Don't you know?
Yeah, don't you know? Well, happy 5th anniversary then, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're just going into our 5th year, so that's exciting.
Well, we're super stoked to have you guys because, one, you're in a tough industry. And for the listeners who don't know, they are self-funded and they are over $2 million in lifetime sales over the last 5 years. And so we get the honor of hearing a lot of information about how they've used money in business, their relationship with money. And of course, because we have partners, we get to see a little bit of your partnership dynamic, which is also very special to Tessa and I, considering that we are also business partners. So let's dive in.
I mean, what we really, when we were thinking about you all and what we know of your story, something that came up is money and how you've been able to build from the moment I met you. And I realized that you had done this much in sales without an outside partner and without venture capital, without a ton of any outside investment, and without the difficulty of, because it's in the hemp space, banks won't lend to you, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. So they don't even have access to banking in the same way that most small businesses do. I was amazed. And I knew that you were meant for us with that kind of grit and backbone and tenacity and ability to build something without that support. And just, we had to ask. And we also think as a woman, a lot of women are really scared to talk about money in a really honest way. And we knew you guys would probably be down to go real. So that's what we want to talk about today. How does that make you feel?
Sweaty hands.
Why sweaty hands?
Yeah. So it's definitely been a journey. And I think that when you start something new, you don't know exactly what the journey is going to look like. The self-funded thing is we both use savings initially. And of course, we have lovely husbands who've been really supportive. So that's always helpful when you're telling your spouse that you're going to quit your incredible job and go down this path of something completely unknown and probably not make money for a bit. So that's my perspective. It's been really nice to have support.
How did they take it?
I think at first, we were all amped about it, right? And so did the initial investments and kind of kept dumping in money, especially year one for growing the plants, extracting them, launching all the products and not having any sales at that point. So, a lot of money of our own savings, our husband's savings, investing in it. I think we definitely thought we'd be profitable sooner than we were. And even for our husbands, oh yeah, this is just the initial investment to the company going. We're going to have all these sales. We can pay it back. We'll be paying ourselves. It's going to be great. And then we're years in, still haven't paid back any of that. Haven't paid ourselves. had to invest extra money into the company to keep it running. And so I think that, I mean, obviously our husbands are still supportive and amazing to us, but it's been challenging for us going through that and those setbacks, especially coming from really high paying jobs ourselves to nothing.
Right. And it's interesting because we had enough wins along the way where it was like this addictive process of growing something. So you had enough money coming in where you really thought you could continue to scale. So even within the first 6 months, we landed probably 10 resort spa partners. So we had enough money coming in where you're like, ooh, this can work. Mm-hmm. But understanding the timeline to completely launch and build a brand, it's interesting because when you're building a brand, you start noticing other brands. And oftentimes I'll be like, oh, check out this cool company. And then I'll look up like when they were founded and it's 10 years old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The fallacy behind
this like overnight success. And then you're like, these people have been at it for a while. And
yeah, it's just like child
really,
actors, right?
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
oh yeah, look at them just blowing up.
What a
and then
success.
They've been in the industry and they've been doing that craft
right.
for 20, 30 years.
So I think we underestimated the amount of work on building a brand, and then you have enough success where you start realizing you have to put processes in place. And then you're like really committed because now you have all these processes. So we had enough wins where we're like, okay, this works, but we didn't quite understand at the beginning how far we would have to dig deep to keep up that momentum.
Yeah. So like financially, how did you guys do that? What are some of the ways in which, you know, you've got savings, but at some point if savings runs out,
and did you estimate, how did you estimate that and how off were you?
I feel like we were very off many times. At first, I think we were able to kind of keep rolling with it the first couple of years. The largest challenge has been inventory purchases. So we're, doing a huge inventory purchase, like all the ingredients, re-up of all the packaging to get some products to sell.
Extraction of the flowers.
Right, and sitting on all that inventory. But then, like all of our wholesale partners, they're on a net 30. So we are shipping them the products 30 days plus until we get paid. But then we have enough inventory to last several months. So it's several months until we recoup just that initial investment. So I think, especially with product companies, cash flow is huge. Being able to manage that and continue paying all of the operations, overhead, employees while making those inventory purchases. And so I think we were kind of just like barely getting by the first couple years, did another personal loan to float us, keep going. And then one huge thing that we discovered, since we can't use traditional funding from banks or like SBA loans, line of credits that you can typically use, we found 0% interest credit cards. That would be for like 9 months or 1 year. And that's Brit and I's credit on there personally. And so we're like, cool, like let's open this credit card and it's going to, maybe the first time it got us $20,000, and then we keep building up credit, and then we get a new one a year later. We have to pay that one off, and then get a new one, and then we have $40,000, and that's our line of credit to be buying inventory, buying packaging.
Because oftentimes you just need to float like a week or two to get payroll and collect AR and like try and tie up that net 30. Because net 30 is never. A lot of these big hotels still send checks, which was a little bit
crazy to think about.
Mind-blowing. You just have a pile of checks and you're so excited about this pile of checks, but like, really?
We send checks sometimes to our investors because I like the idea of them having a tangible reminder of like we are paying them.
Right.
So that's cool. But I can't imagine actually paying anything with a physical check because mail, stamps.
Yeah.
I mean, is anybody even doing that?
Or you're
anymore?
like, where's my check? Who knows? Like what
just
happened?
lost in the mail. That's a great way to buy net 30.
Yeah, exactly.
More time.
It is.
It was in the mail. Check was in the mail. Yeah. Old school tactics.
Mm-hmm. So oftentimes it's just having a little bit of a cash reserve or like the credit card line where you can like float those 2 weeks until you clear up that cash flow issue.
I also think it's worthwhile to note here for anybody who's younger in building their business, you don't borrow against an LLC when it comes to credit cards. That is a direct hit on you and your personal, social security number and everything. And you guys were telling us earlier that your credit score goes up and down like a roller coaster. And this traditional model that most of us are taught by our parents are like, no, you got to keep a steady credit score. You can't buy, you can't function, you can't do anything financially if you have any blips in it. And a lot of people will freak out about those few credit score points. And Tell me, how much has that actually affected you guys? Because I think it's the reality of, no, you can still function and buy and do things with that flux.
Honestly, my credit score is like higher than it's ever been. And it's so
'Cause you're spending a lot?
fascinating. It's so fascinating because of that, just like spending a large amount of money. And I never really used credit cards like that before, obviously, for my personal life. And so, but there's something about that where they know we're going to pay. We've never had one like that we didn't pay or went late or whatever.
So you guys aren't carrying any debt in your cards.
We will sometimes, like for a couple of months, but
Are at the 0%, right? So we can use that like a line of credit and then pay it before it starts accumulating interest.
Right.
So if you're spending 500, you're spending 500. You're not spending 500 plus interest for everybody out there who needs any sort of, little explanation.
Right. So it's basically like an interest-free loan. Most of them are like 10 months to a year. We found a few that are a year.
And you guys haven't seen an issue opening multiple credit cards.
Not yet.
I mean, this
is like an insider's scoop. Yeah,
I think it does, like it will show, right? Like how many open cards are closed, et cetera. So I think that's where I see a dip.
Strategy.
I see a dip in my credit, but it hasn't affected my personal life, which is good. Any of those dips.
This is how Tim, my husband, actually got his start buying and selling or flipping houses. He bought them all on credit cards. So he would go to the courthouse and do a house auction, win a house auction on the courthouse steps when that used to exist. Doesn't work like that anymore. And then he would go up to pay for the house, and it would be anywhere from 20 to 60,000 when houses were much less expensive in Salt Lake. And he would put 5,000 on this, 4,000 on this, 3,000 on this, 2,000 on this. And that is how he got his business start, just the same way. And he would then, with that flip, proceeds, he would pay off his credit cards, buy the next house. And that is like now, obviously, credit cards don't work for us in that high amount that we're working in now, but that was how we got to start. So I love that you got creative around banking wasn't available to you. Is it not available anywhere in the US for your industry, or just specifically Utah?
Across the U.S. So it's considered high risk in terms of regulatory, any kind of banking.
That's tricky.
There are, specific banks, in the cannabis, medical marijuana space that will lend to the hemp. Such extreme interest rates, like you'd probably be better off just a regular credit card.
So both Sarah and I went through the Masters of Business Creation at the University of Utah. And that was really helpful to just help understand P&L and build projections and have some mentors look over all of it and give feedback.
Did you guys do this before you founded Acrely? I was just going to say it in the wrong way now. That we can't do that. Acrely. Remember Acrely, everyone? So did you do it before?
No. So we found out about the program through a business mentor, and you have to have sales to get into the program. So we already had sales. So the company was probably a couple months old when we joined.
It would have been a year. So we started that in the fall of 21, and we launched the company like summer of 20.
Yeah. So we had a decent amount of sales. And then they also help with marketing, product market fit, just scalability of the company. And
up to that point, we were kind of just winging it. And we still are, but the program was super helpful. The verbiage, what to say, how to look over all those things. I mean, I think we're both, very educated people of having an undergrad prior to that. So used to doing our own, personal financials, but the business was a whole nother monster.
It is.
Well, and it's easy to build projections that look very much like this.
I love those.
Soft sciences. It's just exponential hyperbole.
Yes.
And
it's so easy.
And we'll put a
grow
timeline.
20% a year.
Yes, no problem.
Put it in Excel and it looks great.
Yeah. I think that this is a takeaway for sure, is to get that financial knowledge. If you are going to be going after self-funded, which is such a great way to start your company if you have that privilege, right? But to then be able to take care of your own money that you've invested with some sort of program, whether it's a master's program. There's a lot of other programs. I've been through the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program that is structured similarly to that University of Utah one. But that's, if I can add that, I would say that was a huge piece of your foundation.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. And even if you're hiring an accountant or a fractional CFO or somebody to supplement and look over everything, it's nice to have like that baseline language to know what things should look like when you're scaling a company.
Because no one's going to care as much as you are. So,
right.
Yeah,
and to keep an eye on your margins and your cost of goods sold. And then as you add new SKUs, like what does that look like? And so it is nice to at least have that baseline level, even if you choose to outsource it, which I think most of the time, like even with us, like we're slowly trying to outsource things that we can get easy to like find people with that profession.
Yeah. I also love the reminder that in the tech age that we are currently in, where startups, quote unquote, are actually VC backed large companies to begin with. And most of them are chasing, the billion unicorn concept that like Uber hit and so forth. That's not every single entrepreneur or small business owner. Most of those small business owners don't necessarily, they're chasing something they don't actually want. They got into entrepreneurship to be their own boss. And yet when you're under the VC umbrella, not that's necessarily a bad thing, but for a lot of people that puts a new boss into place. And I love that you guys, I know you guys want to be your own bosses. I mean, that's why you guys left corporate life and you're keeping up with that through this methodology, which is really impressive.
And I think that, there's so many things in there when you guys go for an exit, eventually, if that's your plan, which I want to hear about, you'll retain ownership for longer, if not the entire time. And like one of my biggest heroes, the founder of Spanx, what a badass. She retained ownership of her company the entire time. Mind you, she like structured her company different, and she had, some different funding accessible to her that were personal. But Sarah Blakely, she was able to crush that with her exit there,
right?
Because of retaining ownership. So I'm a huge proponent when you can, even though personally I'm an angel investor and see people need funding to scale. So at some point it may make sense, but the idea that you got it off the ground to where it is at, 2 million in historical sales is so impressive. So excellent work, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to know more about kind of your guys' relationship with money, because
back it up for us.
Yeah, give me some scope on. So like we've got these how-tos, but I also want to hear about, sure, you go to business school and you learn more about money, but we all come into that knowledge with some sort of background. Tell me more about your background with money.
/ baggage.
Trauma.
Maybe. Trauma. Maybe.
Big T, little t.
Money's complex. Tell us about your relationship.
So I always view money as independence. And so even with me not really losing a job, quitting a
but
job.
You know what? This is
changing,
amazing because of how you're saying it.
I
You're still carrying that baggage.
Feel like I lost something.
But you chose to leave, right?
I don't know. Anyway, so I did choose to leave my jobs at a certain point because we had enough in sales that Sarah and I were very optimistic about the scalability of the company. And it's really hard to outsource things that you're doing as a founder. And so I felt like in order to maintain like the integrity of our brand and the culture of our brand, that it really would take a shift of me leaving my job. And I know Sarah did the same thing too. So it's like all of a sudden you walk away and a lot of my colleagues were like, what are you doing? And I had a really stable career path and I liked what I was doing. So it felt like very like conflicting to me.
Yeah.
And then to not be making money was really challenging. And even the dynamic between my spouse and I, it's like, I'd always made money and felt that independence. And so it went to being like, okay, we're a team, right? Like we're a team. Like
confirm for me.
I'm still contributing, right? And so of course he's like lovely and, fully supportive of whatever I want to do. But just for me personally, I was like, am I still bringing value? Like, even though if it's not a dollar amount, like, am I still valuable in this relationship?
Isn't that amazing how we do directly contribute our value and associate it with how much we make, how much you make, or what productivity list you complete at your household in order to make everything feel balanced. Cause that's not real. I mean, we all know this sitting here. It's not real partnership. It's not 50-50 all the time. Sometimes it's 100% for one person and 0 for another. Sometimes it's 70-30 and it shifts and, ebbs and flows.
Right.
And it's important that you find a partner, spouse or business partner that supports it.
Well, and I mean, I think it is like a cultural thing because in corporate America, it's like the way that you're compensated for good behavior is by a promotion. Yeah, exactly. Like, good job. Here's some more money. You're going to stay, right?
Also, I think there's something around it with, I don't know. I'm speaking for myself, so maybe you don't relate to this, but with our generation, like, we're one of the first generations that, we're in a little more equal playing fields than men. So like, I'm going to say the powerful women that, you were at that level of your career, and then you decided to walk away. There's almost like, attachment to that value, right? Of like, how could I'm worth, in quotes, like X amount. And now I'm not going to be worth with not paying myself, even though you're now working for yourself. So, hopefully down the line, it all like makes sense. Right. But I do think there's something too about like just being a high powered woman in corporate America that even puts more pressure on it than, I don't know, than maybe men might feel around it.
For sure.
Oh, I think men feel it.
You think the men?
Oh yeah. I'll speak for men here at this table, ladies and gentlemen. No, yeah, I think we all feel it. I think that we as an American culture, similar to what Brit just said, is that like we just hold value as a dollar value instead of what impact are you making? How do you make someone feel in a partnership? What have you taught someone who needed advice or help or whatever? We're going to think about like, well, yeah, I'm worth 200K because that's what I was paid at a company. Yep. Therefore, if my company that I start can only pay me 100K, which would be great. If it only pays me 40K or 50K, like I'm less than this business is less than, my dreams are less than, what I'm doing is less than. And
it is a bit of a mind fuck. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
What about you, Sarah?
Can I ask one follow-up question to yours? Where do you think that stems from? Is it something from like way back when your money stories of what you received like growing up?
Yeah, like what's your earliest memory of money?
Yeah, like where's that come from, do you think? That like high value on like, I got to be paid a lot in order to feel valued.
I think that I like to just like buckle down and see progress and like win, I like to win. Yeah. And so winning, it never was really money because I'm actually super frugal, like really frugal. Like I wear clothes from high school still. That kind of, thank you.
Isn't it great that the 90s are back? So we just wear what we were wearing.
Yeah. Like cute jeans, thanks. I wore these when I was 17.
Me too.
So I'm actually frugal. So it wasn't really like the money.
So what is it about?
It was, I like to win. I like to see progress. I like to learn. I like to grow.
So like the up in your salary represents progress to you?
And growing and like, success. So
were you an athlete? Do you think it stems from that?
No.
Why do you like to win?
I think that I'm probably like type A personality, and like I just have always been like that. Like I've always saved money, and my parents were both really empowering, so I feel like there's no trauma there. Super
there's
empowering.
Always trauma, don't worry.
We can really go deep on that. So I don't have any memories. I just always viewed it as independence and flexibility and control.
Control.
So
is what
like,
I hear is ding, ding, ding. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Because then you can like just pivot or do whatever if you have saved money. And so it wasn't really about the money or even increasing my lifestyle because I still have the same clothes,
I mean, I think freedom is huge. And
right.
Even if money isn't the end goal, anything you could possibly want or need comes from money because that's how our society functions.
Right.
So it would make total sense that if you're like, well, if I get into a relationship, a lot of women used to get into relationships being unable to get out of them because they didn't have any financial independence.
Right.
So that makes total sense.
And
to
I
me.
mean, I did see that happen. A lot of my friends in Texas that I grew up with ended up in really unsuccessful relationships and were taken advantage of. And so I'm sure that imprinted in a different way of like, I'm never going to let that happen to myself.
Yeah. Give yourself choice.
Right.
That's cool. Do you
What about
relate? Do you relate to that, Rocky?
Yeah. I mean, I think money for me has always been, it is about choice. That if I ultimately want something, I have to play the game. I have to get money in order to do it. So I think for a lot of business owners, you set up a business to make money, but then you sort of like deviate from your goal of why you are making money. So a great example would be like, my husband and I love to travel. All the money we want to make is to see the world. And we set up a business where we have 2 cabins that 8 months out of the year, there's snowfall of 600 inches and we got to remove that snow. And we don't have managers of these Airbnbs. So it's just him and I for 8 months. Well, if you think about that, that's so far deviated from the ability to travel, but it makes us income. And we're trying to figure out now, how do we get back? And money is the catalyst in that game. And the money allowed us to build it, but it also deviated us away from what we wanted. And the original goal is always choice. Freedom for me is travel.
Right.
Because I don't have kids, pack everything up and just go. Why not? Be easy.
Right.
What about you, Sarah? What's your relationship with money? What has it been? What's your earliest money memory?
I was just thinking of that. And I grew up on a farm and my parents didn't have a lot of money. Like the whole community, actually, I think the county in Illinois was one of the poorest counties in the state. So all they had was farming. There wasn't a stoplight in the county until I was in high school. So very small.
That's adorable.
Area. But I was super little, lived on a farm. I remember going and helping my dad do chores. I had to be like 4 or 5 and he gave me like $1 for helping him like feed the pigs and collect the eggs from the chickens. And then I like became obsessed with money when I was little and would just save everything. Like super frugal, like at that age. My sister was the one that would buy everything. Like she'd blow all of her money that she earned and I would save it all. And then my big thing, like my parents both always worked. My mom worked and neither of them had like a full like education or bachelor's degree. And so I was super motivated to get my undergrad just to be able to better myself and get out of that county. So I studied agriculture and then started working, my way up in that corporate job and then finally actually having a large amount of money to then feel good about spending it. And I think maybe that was the thing when I was young is I wouldn't spend any because, it was like scarcity. So I was able to have my own money and then start buying things. And then I think that's, of coming to Utah and then getting married and my husband has built an amazing business and career and is able to support us, right, and help invest in Acrely to keep us going, which is super awesome. But same thing of not bringing income into the house is super challenging, when we've done that before. And even though, right, like we just chatted and he's like super supportive, oh yeah, it's a team, it's our money. But I'm still like, oh, but we got to pay that loan back to ourselves because he's worried about it. It still kind of just eats at you, even though, like it's good and they support us. But then I think now in the business, Brit is definitely more frugal. I'm more open, lenient of like business purchasing and spending. So that's kind of been a good balance. We counterbalance each other of keeping it under control.
That's so interesting. You and I were talking a couple days ago about having companies that are highly funded by our spouses. And I'm wondering about your experience because you seem so much more chill about it than I do. I have a lot of weird uncomfortability, shame, embarrassment, a lot of confusing, complicated feelings. And I'm wondering, like, what's your journey been with that specifically?
Yeah, I think it's ever changing. Like sometimes I feel totally good and great. And then other times I'm like, oh my gosh, like my partner's done all of this to help us and I like feel indebted and like, am I supporting enough, right, to our family and our household without the money? So I think it ebbs and flows. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely, I don't know, it doesn't always eat at me as bad as it does you.
I think for me, sometimes it's like that outside judgment of like, oh, she could only do this because of ... because of her husband's investment. And like that knocks it down. Like, oh, but it's also true.
Yeah.
Because of how money works and how banking currently works, that all is true. So it always feels, Rocky always like kind of knocks me back into reality and gets me back into the center and reminds me of what we've both done, Rocky and I and our team, to actually build this, not just with the support of my husband. So it's been very interesting, my relationship with that story. So I'm really curious about how both of you guys got comfortable with that. I don't know.
Yeah,
It feels
again,
tricky
it's
for
your
me.
husband, Sarah, and it's your brother.
Yeah, I don't feel bad about it at all.
Brittany's like, make him give more.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm also, Tim is not my brother. Tessa's husband is not my brother, but
Got it. I think you saying that too is that you guys built it. We built it. Like our husbands have supported us in like, right, the investment and the money, but it does take, right, us on the ground doing the work of building the company. And I think now all of us are, surrounded by a lot of, great, amazing people. And, if we had to, could find that funding and money. Sometimes I say like the money's easier to find than the work. So I think that's a good reminder that like you got to put the work in.
Right. Well, and I think back to our cultural like view of money, and like especially like my view of money is oftentimes you underplay the other value that certain team members, whether it's your spouse or people on your team, are bringing. And that can look like emotional support. That can look like showing up and being positive, or that can look like money as well, And so it's like when you look at a team, like nobody does this alone. And so I think like finding people that there'll be hard times, but you can help bring each other up in maybe different ways. Whereas like the tendency is to only look at the money, but that doesn't calculate. Like
I think
won't
it's because
work.
it's the easiest, right?
Right.
Like it's
It's
the
tangible.
most tangible
It is.
thing. It's the most crunchable thing. Your brain, you can spreadsheet it. You can do all these things with it. The rest of it are things that we just easily forget. Because I know, like, I left San Francisco and I left a good paying job. And my question to my husband was, well, I'm quitting. I actually didn't even consult him. Sorry, babe. And I was like, I'm also moving states. I don't want to stay here. And he was like, okay, where are we going? And so he quit his job. And so we both moved without any jobs. And I think whether it's someone putting money into a business or someone not putting money into a business and emotionally supporting you, there's just this sense of you got to be with somebody who you're willing to have that conversation with. And the more you get into entrepreneurship, the more that's going to bleed into your personal life. If you guys had high paying jobs at a corporation, you can make decisions like to quit and it will affect your family, but day-to-day decisions don't affect your family's finances in the same way. When you're an entrepreneur, you're just like in there. I can't imagine what it would be like to not have the support. So who cares where the money comes from? Because, you're all in it together, hopefully.
Right.
Thanks for the therapy session.
You're welcome.
Y'all, I feel better about my situation. Can you guys talk about like that moment you guys decided to go all in?
I think that I really had to do some self-reflection on my career not being tied to my personal worth and the things that have learned through my career, and I can take those with me. It's not like you quit a job and then you have no value to society. And that was a bit challenging for me. And so even with us, with Acrely, it's like, okay, there's money and there's Acrely. I'm an employee of Acrely, essentially. Like I do what's in the best interest of Acrely. That isn't my worth. Like if something happens to Acrely, I should be able to move on with my life. I'll still be a contributing citizen. I'll still take all the knowledge that I have and like move forward. And so I think I had to do some work on like disconnecting my personal value with my career track, or even with us being founders. Statistically, especially before year 5, like your company is at a very high likelihood of going under when you just logically think about those numbers. And so that helped me. I did a lot of reading and like a lot of work on that. And one of them that helped me tremendously is like putting yourself in worst case scenario mentally, like basically embracing your worst fear. And once you're okay with that mentally, it frees up the fear and reluctancy and like just all of the terrible anxiety that you have around making a really radical, risky change in your life. And so I spent a lot of time like on long walks, just being like, everything fails. I wouldn't be able to get a job. I no longer make money. The company goes under, and like being mentally okay with that and being like, I can walk away and it's still me. I still have great friends. I still can go get a job. I've never like burned any of my networks. And that was like really powerful for me because anytime you do something super risky, it like feels like,
Yeah, that's such good advice.
Because I'm hearing you built your business. Your business didn't build you, is what I'm hearing from that.
Yeah, and I mean, I still have to work on that of like.
It's something you revisit, I'm guessing.
Right.
It's not something you decided at the jump and then you're like, great, we're
Right.
good. I'm never attached because it's for me. It's something that will come up every once in a while. And I'm like,
Right.
I am Maven. No, I am not.
Right. Like I work for the company and I'm going to do everything I can to keep this intact and moving forward and use all of my skills. But at the end of the day, that isn't me. Like I can separate myself from what we've built.
I think that's a big problem in general, probably with identity, is whether you're a mom or a CEO or a founder or whatever,
or an
it might
employee.
be. Employee. You get tied up in this idea of I am this role rather than no, you're just Brit.
Yeah, for sure.
You are, and just Brit is not belittling it. It is just like you in your own silo are Brit, and everything else you do is something you do.
Absolutely.
It's not who you are.
Absolutely.
What about you, Sarah?
I'm trying to think back. So I started like a consulting farming company and was doing that for like the year leading up to Acrely. And so I'd already been out of my corporate job for a while. And so it was less of a leap, I guess. I'd already gone through that and like mourned the loss of my corporate job.
My healthcare. You mourn the loss of healthcare benefits.
Honestly, though, I think that's
not
not
a
to
bad
interject
idea.
in your story, but my therapist told me this when I was struggling with something. He's like, hey, well, have you grieved it? And I was like, well, there's no death, so you don't grieve it. And he's like, no, you grieve all the time. There is deaths of everything, whether it's not life or death is irrelevant. But I mean, like, I think that's a huge thing. How did you grieve?
For sure. I traveled around Europe for 3 months.
Yes.
It's very impactful.
I'm so
Love a
proud
good
of
travel.
you.
You went on long walks.
I went on long walks in the Alps. And yeah, it's true. That's my big thing is like, so I kind of got over the hardest thing of getting down to that, and then was working for a nonprofit and then already had my own business. And so it kind of felt natural of like, okay, well, I'm already, at this kind of baseline of having a consulting business and, we'll roll with this. If Acrely works, awesome. If not, I've got backups and can figure something else out.
It's so true. The question of what's the worst that can happen.
I do like that. That's going to stick out for me.
I mean, yeah, because your imagination is much worse than reality.
Right.
And then also the ridiculousness of what you could come up with. Like you said, like, what, I'm going to have no job offers?
Yeah. Like all of a sudden I'm not worth anything and have no education or no experience.
And you're
or
on the
anything.
streets.
And I'm on the streets.
Yeah, exactly.
And my husband hates me.
Yeah. And that's not super plausible. There was a moment during COVID. I don't know how it sounds like you guys were in this really creative, lovely space, growing hemp and picking flowers and making botanicals. Like that was not mine. And it was a lot of me walking, pacing back and forth in my house and trying not to cry on the phone with Rocky, but she knew I was crying. Just totally thought we were going to lose everything, right? And it was as much as I was trying to practice presence and not being able to own my next day. It was so intense for me. But there was in August of 2020, I'll never forget it. I was in Montana, sitting on a beach on a lake, and my therapist had given me the exact same assignment. I want you to go to worst case scenario. Who are you without Maven? And I went down the hole, and it was at the bottom of the hole was not as black as I thought it was going to be. And it was like, psh, I'm still fucking cool. I still have great friends. I've still got a great family. And whoa, I've got a bunch more ideas. I would just go build something else. And it was like, poof, all of that. I'm not saying I never got stressed about it again, but all of that attachment I had to me as Maven and Maven failing in that space and not being able to pay employees and all of those stressors that was happening during that time. I think I came back from that trip like a totally different person. And
right.
I took that heavy backpack off and was like,
we'll figure it out or we won't. And that's okay. It's like, I don't know, we're going to give it our best shot. That's for sure. And if it doesn't work, we will go do something else. And it's actually not my responsibility to hold all of that weight. And during that time, Rocky was such a big piece of, girl, you got to let me hold some of that weight. Like, it's not actually all yours to hold. And I was, I don't know, probably resistant to that. Yeah. So thank you for that reminder. Cause that is
look
something.
Look at these arms. Look what I can carry.
I know. They're so good.
strong,
We've
strong.
always just loved Rocky's arms. What's the woman from Terminator? Come on,
Sarah
let's just
Connor.
go there. Sarah Connor arms is what we dubbed them a long, long time ago.
I wish they could peck dance.
It's not too late.
Yeah, all this fluff is really nice, but I'd like some conflict. Give me the dirt. What happened? I heard a rumor. You got a job offer, Brit.
Yeah, so both Sarah and I are fully committed to building Acrely together. And there's times where it's like so hard, because even just when money is tight, of like knowing like I could just go get a job.
Well, yeah, you said earlier your job used to make you happy. too,
Yeah, no,
which
I
is-
wasn't like running from anything. People are always like, how terrible was, I'm like, I liked it. I liked what I was doing. And so, yeah, I think there's been opportunities where I really had to be transparent with Sarah of like where we were with Acrely, where I was personally, and then just like really be empathetic too towards like our partnership and having the tough conversations. And also we're family, And so I'm like, okay, well, screw this company. Like, we're always going to be sister-in-laws and you're incredible. And I can't deal with my brother without you. So that's like the most important thing. And then I'm just going to be very transparent with you. Like, we're not making money. Like, what does this look like? And us really figuring out what works for both of us. And to be honest, I was like, gosh, our jobs are terrible. It'd be so sad doing this alone. And so that was part of the motivator. I was like, I can't leave you. Like, you're one of my best friends and family. Like, I can't leave you to run this like monster that we created.
What makes it hard? What makes your jobs terrible, hard?
I think it's just the day-to-day grind. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it's as fast or exactly what you had envisioned in your mind. And oftentimes you forget that you created something from nothing. And so it's really easy to like get so caught in the future of just growing, instead of like, hey, pause. Like, 4.5 years ago, none of this existed. Like, nothing existed. And so I think like with me especially, I'm like very impatient just in general. And so I'm like, next, instead of like, hey, that's pretty cool. We built this whole thing. And like at our growth rate, 5 years from now will look very different with what roles we currently have. And so that's been helpful, because your brain wants to go to what I'm doing today in this terrible monotonous task or whatever thing that you hate. I'm going to do this forever, But the reality is, when we've pretty consistently doubled the size of the company every year. So like my job at the beginning of the year looks very different than my job now. And so us just getting to a place where we can be transparent with each other about what's working and what's not working.
How was that for you?
What's not working?
I know. Yeah. There's a lot of questions. We have follow-up questions. Did you see it coming?
Yes and no. I think the main thing is like we knew like we were trying to get profitable to pay ourselves. Like that was super important to Brit. Like, just both of us from, running a company for 5 years and not paying yourselves anything is really hard. And but basically looking at the numbers, like we can't pay ourselves, or, we can't have these employees, or we can't afford this inventory. And so I knew that was like a main thing. That was our goals together. Like we have to scale the company enough, be profitable enough that we can start pulling an income, and knew that was super important. So, and, Brit got, that great job offer, not that long ago. And I'm like, you can't leave. Like we're right there. We can start paying ourselves now,
on the precipice.
even if it's not what we're worth, but it's something. And so I was like, and I don't want to do this by myself. Like, I can't do this by myself. Right. Or like having to hire someone else to do your job, then I can't afford that person, and so that was like, yeah, super hard. And right, because of our dynamic, we spend a lot of time together, and, so then it's hard, right, when that, work carries over to personal and we're like all hanging out, like it's super challenging if there's any kind of conflict, because we're very interlaced.
How long did it take you to get through that moment? Was that a week long, a month long, 3 months long, where you were just like really waffling with those big questions?
I don't know, Britt, how long were you interviewing for jobs?
I didn't
Spill it. Years of this.
I'm trying to get out of here.
She's probably leaving tomorrow, guys. Great.
Yeah, you
Better
gotta
post this quick. She's out of here.
I don't know, like probably a month. It wasn't even anything that I was like directly looking for, but there was something that happened of like, once we had that conversation and I was like, okay, we are like so close to getting to a point where like, especially when you have a product company, like you start building like brand awareness, sales become a little easier. We put all these crazy processes in place last year. So last year felt like really, really like hard. And so I was like, I do believe in what we've built. And so that's why it was like really conflicting for me. So like probably a month of just like waffling on like, what am I doing? You know, like, what do I want to do? What brings me happiness? How do I want to spend time? And trying to like decouple the whole money thing. Right.
Yeah.
And so once I said no, I was like, let's go. Like, we're not staying here. We're either going to like run this thing into the ground and like light it on fire, or we're going to like start crushing and we're going to pay ourselves. And both Sarah and I were aligned. I'm like, this year, I'm like, let's go. Like, we have to make it so it's such an obvious decision that next year, this time, like coming up in the holidays, it'll be like, okay, we ran this thing into the ground and we lit it on fire with our own match, or like, hey, we have cool jobs now. We have salaries. We can hire whoever we want.
I like this ownership so much.
Yeah.
That, you know, you do have to actually own it, because otherwise it's the blame game of some outside sources is affecting change in your business. And that's just not true. You make all the decisions. You spend all the money. You save all the money. Like whatever it is, it's all you. So I like that you guys are owning it, because I think that's probably a pivotal shift for you too.
Right.
Yep, for sure.
That's a big shift to go from, I think I might take a job, to let's go. Also, is that a family motto? All of every person in your family,
Yes.
you must say that in order to be part of your family.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go.
LFG every morning.
Oh,
LFG. Well, I have some fun questions for you guys. I only have a few of them. I'd love to get.
Do you want me to go first, or you want to end with that?
No, I want to go.
All right.
Let's fucking go.
No.
I want both of you to answer. You
At
can't
the same
think about
time.
it. Yeah, well, actually, probably
Not.
I'm getting the no.
Okay, Brett has to go first.
Oh, okay. It depends on the question.
All right. You're both going to answer each question.
Quickly.
Okay.
Yes, but quickly.
Okay.
Don't stall.
Okay.
Let's fucking go.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
If you were gifted $50K, how would you spend it?
I would save it 100%. I'd be like, yoink. I would invest it immently
Invest it where?
in a random, like,
Don't tell me a
diversified
CD.
fund.
Oh, God. 0.01%.
And like
50K.
everything I do is I'm like mountain biking and backpacking. Like my trips are so cheap. Like I don't even really need money to
That's
go on
right.
a trip.
Close from high school. All right.
Yeah,
Next.
yeah, yeah.
Is this personal or for the business?
Oh.
Ooh.
Your
Well,
call.
either I have to pay my husband back his loan, get him off my back.
Would that cover it?
I'm part of it.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
That's
That's a
reasonable.
payment.
That's why I told you I didn't feel bad about it.
Wow.
It's nothing.
All right. Are you someone who splits the bill, or you pick up the tab?
Tab.
Yeah, Tab.
Okay.
I'm not cheap with food.
Okay, so we
I
found what
freaking
you're
love
willing
food.
to spend. You're not going to spend $50K on a meal, but
No, take me to Harmon's. I'll buy all the stuff.
Well, Harmon's big spender. All right.
It is. Yeah. That produce is like so organized.
that produce.
And it's local.
Turns me on. Gets me every time.
That local organized produce.
What's a money habit that you admire in the other person?
Brittany saving and investing.
Yeah, Sarah actually is really generous, and especially with our team, like she's so thoughtful. And I think sometimes, I mean, I try to be, it's not intentional, but Sarah like goes out of the way and like thinks of ways we can like leverage the funds that we have to like make sure everyone's happy.
Oh, Those were cute answers, weren't they?
That was a cute question, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where'd you find that?
I thought you were
From
gonna.
my brain space.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
All right. What's something that your partner buys, i.e., this person sitting next to you, that makes you roll your eyes?
Oh, dude, she's a savage at Costco.
True.
What does she not buy?
I love Costco.
I like have almost been in tears.
Have
I'm
you
like,
ever-
can we go home? She'll be like, do you want to go to Costco with me?
I don't take her
as a
anymore.
hobby?
I like to walk all the aisles and see if there's
absolutely.
anything I
You must-
need.
you must do
anything
all
I
the
need.
aisles.
Okay, you guys
Yeah.
go.
We'll go
All
together.
the aisles.
All the aisles.
Hey,
I
but
want
I
to
get
just check it out.
I
What
get
if there's a
extra
new
dog
blender?
toys for her dog, so you
No.
know I got to
We
carry
had to
the
have
weight.
real talk about like clothing and like
no.
maybe.
Clothing?
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah, they've got some bangers.
Okay.
Like you're like in like buying like tennis shoes for people.
No, not yet.
even like for yourself.
Not
like,
yet. Not yet.
What is happening? You have 15 coolers and you bought another cooler.
Well, it depends. Is it a
It
Yeti
like
cooler?
blows, and so it's like a really like terrible situation for both of us because I'm like,
this
I
is a
know
great
you. I
question.
know how many coolers you have. You don't need another.
Do you guys have a
cooler.
Costco business membership together?
Oh,
No,
stop!
I'm
it.
on my mom's. It's
Stop
free.
Dude, actually, that's
Thanks,
a
Mom.
key money tip. Milk it where you can still milk it.
Yeah, I'm on my mom's too. Actually,
Nice.
Yeah.
Just don't
Same.
give her any ideas about
Save
like
the pennies.
Costco.
Yeah, but my
business
mom's getting all my
cards.
percentage money back, so she's rich.
Because you're buying all the sweatpants
Yes.
from Kirkland.
Yes.
Oh, God. All right. What's yours, Sarah? For Brit. Roll your eyes. Ugh, can't believe you put money in savings account for CD.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say she doesn't buy anything. I can't roll my
She
eyes.
doesn't buy anything?
I
Nothing?
mean,
even
not
one habit?
excessively. No.
Yeah, what
Anything
do I buy?
ridiculous? What's her vice?
Don't you? What about when you roll your eyes because you won't buy something?
Yes, that's
Oh,
that's
yeah, that
always
is true.
That's
Always.
always.
Me at Costco, I'm such a buzzkill. Like I can feel myself like
Oh,
projecting.
Fuck Costco. I hate that place. I'm going to go there. I'm with you.
Tess, we're going.
I mean, I probably do buy weird stuff. I don't know.
She doesn't really. I would say, oh, great. Brittany's trying to save money and invest again. My girl, live a little. Buy some new pants.
Yeah, actually.
Okay, these were fun. You got all of them?
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay.
Trying to save time, be efficient.
I've got a question for you. What's next for Acrely? Babes.
Go
Crush.
for it. Yeah.
Let's fucking go again.
Well, we're super stoked that we are finally like feeling positive with sales year 5. So yeah, we're trying to double our sales every year.
Woo woo.
Forever. Long term, Brittany, what's next?
You know, we
that job offer.
Yeah. So, we have been approached by several investors. We've chosen not to go down that path currently, but I think there'll be a certain point where we may have to pursue that and bring like a strategic investor in who like understands how to scale like consumer product goods in our industry. And, you know, it's so funny because we draw out these maps of like, what does 5 years look like? And part of me, we've built something really cool. And the thing that you can do once you build a company is you can have a cool culture that people can work there. We can empower other women. And so part of me is like, oh, let's just keep it. But I'm also obsessed with new things just in general. And so part of me is like, now that Sarah and I have worked together for so long, we could easily start something new if the right opportunity exists with us exiting.
That's cool.
Just
I like
being
that
open.
answer.
I mean, that's always a good little tidbit to think of is you can think about what your business can do, but again, separation of identity and the business yourselves, knowing just like, well, we could also just be open. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Once you get to that identity separation, you have that ability. So who knows what's going to come? That's exciting.
You guys are so smart. What is a piece of advice you would give to a new business owner that
Run.
is trying to self-fund? Oh, yeah.
Run.
Oh, Sarah, and the jokes.
I think, right, like it's super hard, the self-funding, like bootstrapping, but highly advised, you know, like going through the MBC at the University of Utah, like we were with a lot of other business owners and, you know, seeing all different ways of, you know, bringing on funding, getting investors, and, you know, a lot of those companies, even though they raised a ton of money, right, can still fail. And so keeping that control of the company and the direction you want to go, highly advise anything you can do to self-fund, bootstrap, get creative with credit cards, to keep your business running and to keep ownership.
I think too, just getting it out for like product market fit. I think it takes a really long time to understand like what do people actually want and what are they willing to pay money for. And so just seeing that cash flow come in because people vote with their money, it helped us shape like where we thought versus where we knew we could make money. And so even though it wasn't a lot of money to fully like pay ourselves in that, but it was enough to understand where there was potential to scale within the industry. And so like with software, like at my old job is like, minimum viable product. Well, even with a consumer product good, like get some sales. Like don't hold everything for so long that you have no idea what people are going to buy or any feedback. And I think with Sarah and I, we started doing trade shows like for the spa industry, talking to people who are using your product and who want your product is so incredibly helpful and powerful. And then also you have money coming in. So even if you do need to bring in an investor, they can see the potential of the business and the product market fit based on your sales.
Early. Yeah.
And that everything doesn't have to be perfect to launch. I think so many people obsess, like your website has to be perfect, my branding, this whole product line, and then hesitate, burn the money, get $0 coming in.
Yeah. And they forget the experimentation phase is so important because they're stuck on, I don't know what to name the company. I'm like, fuck the name. Just go start giving this to your friends. Go into a farmer's market, selling it on the corner. What actually works? Do you have something that you actually want to sell?
Right. And you guys started with a small product line too, which I think is also pretty key. Right? Yeah, exactly. Singular. And that's okay.
Right. And honestly, it's never going to be perfect. I mean, you guys know it's like this vicious iterative process that when you grow a company, it's like, in a year, you rip out everything you did the year before and do it better. And
the viciously beautiful cycle.
Right. So it's like this newness. So you're like, just get some sales.
That's
Make
amazing.
some money.
Great advice.
Yeah. Sales are pivotal.
Yeah.
I think we overlook that. Sales, you have to be able to sell your product. You could make a beautiful product, but if you can't sell it.
And if you can't sell it, you can't hire a sales rep to sell it either.
That's tricky, huh?
Sales. It's time for me to do my favorite thing. Wrap it up, put a little bow on it, give you 3 key takeaways. Brit and Sarah are amazing. Their stories give us a lot of insight. And I think the first one that I want to highlight on is there is literally no right way to fund your business. So what matters most is really understanding how money flows through your business and aligning that with your business goals. So whether you're going to use 0% APR credit cards, which is pretty genius, or borrow from your spouse, or invest from your own savings, it's literally a no size fits all situation. You got to get scrappy, you got to stay curious, and you need to seek support. This, I think, is a great opportunity to hop onto Geneva, ask our other members how they've funded their business, because you can learn a lot from there. There's also lots of financial educational resources that you can explore and learn more about. And it's possible that you could connect with someone or even find a fractional CFO or mentor that can help you make better informed decisions. 2, I don't want to quote myself, but damn, I did a good quote earlier. You built the business, it didn't build you. Yeah, you are not your business. Here's that reminder. Your value isn't tied to revenue, it's not tied to momentum, and it is not tied to titles. So separate yourself every single day from your business. And that is crucial for your personal long-term health and clarity, which means you can't build a business if you don't have it in the first place. And it also helps you get and stay grounded when shit gets hard and when shit gets easy. It also leaves you open to unexpected opportunities that align with you, the core of you, not the business. Let's see. 3rd one. Ooh, honesty. That nasty dragon that keeps rising up all the time. You got to know yourself. You need to know your risk tolerance, and you have to be honest. Entrepreneurship, quite frankly, is just not right for everybody, and that is totally okay. And I actually hope that we have listeners who are not just entrepreneurs, but people who are in different forms of business, because what's really important about all of this is, you know yourself, you learn more about yourself, and you know what you're willing to risk. That's a challenge. That takes a lot of honesty. And when you can do this, when you're sitting on the edge and you're questioning whether to stay or go or build something or break something down, it's a good reminder to remember that the answer is not going to lie in the business. It's going to lie in yourself and in the people around you if you have a partner and your employees. So choosing to keep going may not be about the business itself. It's probably about who you're building it with and who you want to be and why you're doing it. So yeah, there's 1, 2, and 3. There is no right way to fund your business. 2, you are not your business. And 3, know your risk tolerance and be honest with yourself. I think that's a lot of good shit right there.
Well, tell us where we can find you.
Here locally in the Maven district, we have our brick and mortar shop, 9th South, 200 East. Come see us in person. We're often there, Brittany and I.
We also have a website, acrelyfarms.com. We also, if you really want to indulge, we're in a lot of resort spas in the area.
Beautiful spas in the area.
Some favorites in Little Cottonwood.
That's where you sent us.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
That place is incredible. As well as Park City Spas. So we have
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky is incredible.
Highly recommended. If you'd like to come stay at the ForgottenCabins.com. Right next door.
We can put some Acrely products in there.
Oh, now we're talking.
Let's go.
More advice, partnerships, lean into other people in the business.
Yes, for sure.
Awesome.
And you guys,
socials?
Website, acrelyfarms.com.
Yep.
Instagram.
Acrely Farms,
Nice,
ACRELY.
Thank you. You too. We just adore you. Thank you for sharing your heart and your brains with us today on Heart and Head Work. And we will be back soon. But if you want more of us, come find us on Geneva. We'd love to connect with you there. Tell us what you want to talk about and tell us what really landed here today with our conversation. Thank you all. We love you.
Thank you.
Love you, partner.
At maven.community.
Yes, of course.
Love you too,
On
partner.
Instagram.
Thank you.
Boom.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.